Hello fanbots, and welcome to a new segment that we like to call Trades Tuesday. This is a segment we'll be doing periodically, but today I'm here to talk to you about some of my favorite trades. So when you go to a comic book shop, right, and you pick up your pull list, sometimes you like to go through the trade section and just kind of browse and see, what you didn't pick up, maybe pick up a series that you were interested in but you didn't feel like adding to your pull list or picking up the singles for. And I do this a lot because I don't really follow current series. I'd rather wait for them to come out in trades and then pick them up as one lump sum because I hate waiting for stories to progress. I'd like to just binge in one solid push and consume a whole story overnight.
Sexy.
You can watch me do it, and it's possibly the most arousing thing you'll ever view. But anyway, so one way I like to navigate the trades is I like to look for some of my favorite authors. And so this segment today is going to focus on one of my favorite authors in terms of trades. And that author is Michael Straczynski. I hope that's how you say his last name. There's a C in there to throw you a loop, so Straczynski, whatever works. Anyways, you might know him from television or movies. He wrote most of Battlestar Galactica, as well as a couple of other big series. But I know him from comics, and actually a few of my favorite titles are actually written by him, so we're going to start with those. One of my favorite trades that you should definitely pick up is the Compendium for Rising Stars. It's a little pricey, but totally worth it. This is one of my favorite series, actually. It's what got me into comics again when I was in college. A friend of mine lent it to me, and I read the whole thing in like an hour and a half, which, as you can see, is pretty quick for the size of the book. But great series, really a hallmark Straczynski series. It deals with a lot of great questions, and that's kind of why I like Joe as a writer, is because he deals with a lot of the big questions, and he does it in a very, very, very skilled way. Much like the Civil War arc, Rising Stars kind of covers what happens when superheroes turn on each other, and what alliances kind of, get to the highest point and then start to fall apart. And really interesting book. I definitely recommend you pick it up, give it a read. One of, I think, Straczynski's best works. The art's superb, and the story is just phenomenal. Give it a read. Great trade. The next trade that I really recommend you pick up, and you don't have to get this fancy version, although I do recommend it, because it's really well put together. Yeah, one of my favorite other trades by Straczynski is Midnight Nation. This is another one of my favorite books that I've ever read. He actually came up with the story for Midnight Nation because Michael Straczynski spent a good portion of his youth in San Diego. Went to high school here, went to college here, lived here for a while, and he actually, there's a little foreword or afterword on the Midnight Nation book that talks about how he came up with the story, and he came up with it when he got jumped in San Diego. And it's a really interesting little story to read. It really gives you a lot more bearing on where the story came from in his mind. But again, another one of my favorite series, and I love it because, like Rising Stars, it deals with a lot of the big questions. Like why are we here? Human interaction, stuff like that. And it can get pretty heavy, but the reason I like Michael Straczynski so much is because he deals with these questions in a very genuine and a very clever way. It never feels cliched, it never feels tired. He always has a really solid story to back up these philosophical inquiries. And Midnight Nation is no exception. I love the story that he put together. The art's pretty good. Not my favorite, but it doesn't hurt the story at all. So yeah, if you're a fan of deeper stories, definitely pick up Midnight Nation. I actually recommend you pick up this hardcover copy because it's very, very high production quality. I mean, I don't know if you can see this on the camera, but they do all sorts of stuff. Like you can see sort of the inside of the book. You can kind of see how on the inside of the sleeve. It's absolutely beautiful. Chock full of extras. One of my favorite things that I think every book longer than 5 pages should come with is the little bookmark cord. And it comes with a nice little poster, a nice little cardboard sleeve. So, much like Neil Gaiman's Death collection, it's very high production quality, and I recommend that if you love the story, you should pick it up and add it to your collection because it's absolutely beautiful and you'll absolutely enjoy every minute of it. So yes, so Midnight Nation's great, Rising Stars is great. Like I said, he's one of my favorite authors, Michael Straczynski. Pretty much whenever I'm in the trade section, if his name is on it, I know it's worth picking up and reading and owning for my collection. And while this last part isn't technically a trade, I think that it will be released as a trade, and when it is released as a trade, you should definitely pick it up if you don't already own it, and that is 10 grand. 10 grand is in the same vein as a lot of Straczynski's other work, where it's very serious, and it's a solid story, but it's got underpinnings of very serious life questions, you know, and very serious life issues about companionship and, you know, the meaning of life and ethics and stuff like that. So it's a little bit of a heady read if you want to dive into the minute details, but if you just want a good story and you like supernatural stuff, check it out anyways. 10 Grand is actually one of the few series that I'm trying to follow currently. It's not going so well, but I'm still trying to follow it currently, and that's because it's really phenomenal. If you like any sort of supernatural reads, like the Supernatural TV show, or you like any of Joe Straczynski's other works...
Dream Police.
Dream Police, that's a very popular one. We'll cover it next time.
Woo!
But yeah, Dream Police, all Straczynski stuff, you know, a lot of witchcraft. If you're reading Coffin Hill, you'll definitely like 10 Grand. It's one of my new favorite series. The art I'm not entirely sold on, but the writing is phenomenal. And the reason I brought this into this trade issue is because it's actually made, or it's actually printed on Joe Straczynski's personal imprint on Image called Big Joe's Comics, and he prints a lot of other stuff. So if you're ever in the trade section and you see that Big Joe's Comics imprint on the cover or in the back or whatever, pick it up, give it a read. And anytime you see Joe Straczynski in the trade section, just pick it up, flip through, make sure that you like the art, make sure that the story sounds interesting, and buy it, because you really can't go wrong. So, yes, thank you for joining me for the first segment of Trades Tuesday. Like I said, next segment will be done by Mr. Hewitt, and he's got a lot of interesting stuff to say, so tune in for that. And always, as always, from Cinema Robots, remember who you are and what you are. Don't go causing any trouble out there in that big world. And read more comics.
Nope, just this is a new segment. We're going to be doing it.
Off.